Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. It is all about racing. In this episode, we're going to take a look at this 1998 Porsche 911 GT1, known as the mobile car that competed in the 1998 FIA GT1 class, driven by Alan McNish and Yannick Dalmas. Excuse me. This unique car was designed by Norbert Singer and Tony Hatter. As it competed in the FIA GT1 class, they were required to make 20 street legal versions for homologation. However, somehow Porsche got by that regulation. I don't know how they did it, and they only made one, which was named the 911 GT1 Straben version, or the street version, and that is currently displayed as this car in the Porsche Museum in Germany. This particular car featured a 3.2-liter water-cooled M96 80 flat 6 turbocharged mid-engine with a 6-speed manual transmission. It weighed 1,050 pounds or 1,050 kilograms or 2,315 pounds. And if any of you have any of the previous models, I do not, even though I am looking to pick up a 1996 model, they bore very little resemblance to this particular model. This car, although not the one that won the Le Mans in 1998, which was the number 26, this was the one that competed in the FIA Championship. Now, this particular car is made by Onyx, and it is a die-cast model mounted on this plastic base. It comes with this nice-looking acrylic jewel case that you see there. And it is important to note that this is a limited edition car on 1/43 scale from the Vitesse Group, and that this is number 1,733 of 3,000 pieces made. I always like it when you get a limited edition car. It's kind of cool, and this is one of those. Now, let's get down to the nuts and bolts of what this car is really like in my overall impression. First of all, I like the way that Onyx presents the car. I love the base that you see here with the information that's presented on it. It does come with a jewel cover, which virtually all 1/43 scale cars do. Not all include boxes like the Hatchet's cars that are available, and not are all of this quality. I do not consider this one of the best quality cars I have, but it's certainly not one of the worst. In fact, the only thing that kind of takes away from it is the tail end, which we'll take a look at in a minute. But otherwise, details on this are really quite exceptional. For example, and let's go ahead and take a look at the wheels. And I always kind of judge a car by the wheels first. And if the wheels are good, usually the car is pretty good. You can see it has Michelin tires. It's got these really, which I think are really cool gold wheels that you have there. They look really nice. You can see the rotor behind it, but you cannot particularly see the brake calipers on it. All other detail from the side is very, very good. You have, Warsteiner as one of the major sponsors here, and I understand that as a German beer. You can see the number 7 FIA tag, though that was common at that time, the Mobile 1. Notice on the back, just, talk about the little attention to detail. There's a little tiny decal there right above the Michelin. And I'm drawing a blank on it's kind of hard to see what it says, but it just goes to show you how they put some really unique and tiny decals on this car that, quite frankly, with a naked eye without a magnifying glass, you can't even read, or at least I can't. Anyhow, rolling around to the front, what really stands out here, and the front, I think, is one of the best aspects of this car. If you take a look at the grille, that is inlaid aluminum in there. It is not plastic. You have the Warsteiner front splitter on there. Take a look at the headlight detail. These were the eggshell headlights, which Porsche fans absolutely hated in the products, in the road legal versions that they could buy that had that. I think it looks kind of cool, particularly the way the front end of this car is designed, which is absolutely beautiful. And if you take a look at the livery, I mean, it really kind of starts here. This particular livery was repeated in the 2018 Petite Le Mans on the Porsche 911 RSRs on the number 911 and 912 cars. And we're going to take a look at that in a second, see how they compare. But this is a close look at this one. And if we move up, let's take a look at the cabin. You can see the Porsche right under the cabin there. It's got the Porsche logo. Interestingly, on the windscreen and not on the front of the car. You do have that massive air scoop above the cabin. It takes in air and feeds that to the mid-engine car, and you can see some nice details there as far as the seat, the steering wheel. Notice that this is a right-hand drive car. Norbert Steiner said that was important since most cars turn to the right, and he therefore felt for better balance the driver should be on the right side of the car. I can't say that I disagree with him at all. If you take a look at the driver's side, not much different than the passenger, but you can see how the livery just kind of rolls from the front to the back. Notice the massive louvers over the wheel arch of the front wheels, and notice that they're nicely done and nicely textured. They're just not painted on there. I think good job by the Onyx folks. There's a little better look at the interior of the cabin. There is a sticker on the side of it. I'm not sure what that is for, but it is on the windscreen there. And if you take a look at the front to back, you do see the one aerial on the top of the cabin, and you have the Warsteiner logo, and I think it is the King or Queen of Beers, whatever that means in German, on there, and Warsteiner obviously on the rear wing. Now the back is where it disappoints a little bit. They did a really, really nice job as far as the taillights are concerned, the exhausts, but everything in between that it just looks like cheap plastic. It kind of reminds you of an IXO model, where they did a much better job. If they had repeated it on the back as they did the front of this car, I would give it A++, almost put it in spark range, so to speak. Good, but not quite there, but certainly not disappointing. Okay, folks, now at this point, we're going to take a look at this and the 2018 version that competed in the Petit Le Mans, that being the 911 car. And you can see the flow of the livery and, the fact that you've got gold wheels, you've got a white base paint on both cars. Granted, these cars are 20 years apart. And while the livery is not identical, it flows, and if you weren't looking at both of these side by side, you could never tell the difference, particularly when we look at the front of the cars, which we will do here in just a second. Now here's a good look at the nose of both cars. And as you can see, this is kind of where everything kind of flows from, so to speak. Now, bear in mind that both cars are very different as far as their shape and their design. But the livery kind of starts with the red accents on the nose. Granted, the 912 car had yellow accents on it, but this one has the red, and everything kind of flows from there. How the livery wraps around the headlights, so to speak. Notice that on the car from 1998, the GT1, the livery wraps a little bit more around inside the nose of the car, where it does not on the Porsche. And it might be even a little bit more extravagant than it is on the 2018 car from that perspective. But otherwise, it looks very much the same. Now here's a look at the side of both cars, and as you can see, they are drastically different. From the side point, I give the 2018 version, I guess, a greater focus of detail. Maybe that's because of the side rails that you have on it and the fact that the GT1 doesn't have that. If you look at the top of both cars, again, very, very different. I actually like the way on the driver's cabin, the way that it was done on the 2018 Porsche. And I think overall, the way that they redid this flows much better than it does on the 1998 version. Granted, they had 20 years to think about it and do it differently, but they did a really, really cool job, particularly with, I guess, the red accents that you have on the nose, on the top of the car, as well as the back, that you kind of lack. Well, you do have them on the sides of the 1998 Porsche right there, as you can see, but very, very nicely done on both cars. And then if you take a look at the back of both cars, again, on the 2018 car, because I guess you've got a rear bumper that you don't have on the 1998 car, they were able to bring that logo, I guess, or the livery to that a little bit better than you did on the 2018 car. I also like what they did with the trunk of the car. But nevertheless, I think this is just a really iconic and gorgeous livery, and I am so grateful for Porsche having brought it back. Anyhow, folks, that wraps up this particular edition. I hope you have enjoyed it, and hopefully you have stayed through the end, particularly if you'd like to oogle both cars, as they're both absolutely gorgeous. Thanks for watching. See you next time.